Songs of Conquest is a brand new turn-based strategy game similar to classics like Heroes of Might and Magic 3. It's beautiful, fun, and most importantly for the average person, damn near impossible. The game has two difficulty levels, unfair and unfathomably unfair. If you're a fan of wondering how the AI will react to you smashing their overwhelmingly powerful army last turn, then you can rest easy knowing that the answer is always they just recruited it back again instantly. Now the game has a single player, it's got a multiplayer, it's got a skirmish, and the campaign is great fun until you get to about mission 4 and discover the true meaning of the phrase bang your head against a brick wall. Well, today I intend to conquer this game with the most cheesy strategy possible, because to a professional video game exploiter, a new release is a treasure trove of potentially broken gameplay mechanics. So today I will unleash my powers and destroy the perfect balance of this game. So sit back, relax, and grab a cup of Yorkshire tea, because it's time to see if with enough cheese I can beat 3 impossible AIs. But first, it's time to make some dollars. Say hello to Star Trek Fleet Command, a Star Trek fleet management strategy game in space. You can play it on your mobile or your personal computeroni. But why should you be playing it right now? Well, a brand new update just dropped, adding content from the Star Trek Lower Deck show into the game. There's new officers, new cosmetics, new ships, and even 30 new missions to enjoy. Now that's gameplay. But wait, there's more. Strange New Worlds is arriving this June to the game, and it's adding new abilities, enemies, and adventures. So if you're bored with the real world and want to adventure in the fun of the Star Trek universe, then use the link below and join me in the one place untouched by capitalism, space! Welcome into the game, ladies and gents. We're playing as the Undead faction against some very tricky opponents, and unlike us mere mortals, these guys are able to constantly upgrade and expand at a faster rate than we can even dream of. The first challenge we must overcome is accepting our weaknesses. We cannot make as many troops as the enemy, and we cannot have as many resources as them. So what can we do? Well, we can make rats? Yay, rats! Now to the common gamer, a level 1 rat with some of the worst stats in the game is probably not a good creature to have in your army. I mean, if the AI is going to rush at me with tier 5 celestial beings of unfathomable power, then what is a singular rat going to do beyond getting evaporated into a million fluffy bits of particles? Well, due to this game's balance, the rat has one distinct and often overlooked advantage. Each unit has a limit. This is the cap of units you can have in each stack that you can bring into a battle. For high tier units, that could be as low as 5. For a rat, it's 100. Oh, suddenly my little rat boy has more of a bite. Now, our hero today is of course called a wielder, and our first wielder is not very good. She can lead 3 units, so potentially 300 rats, and she can cast a bit of magic. Our early game strategy will be all about setting up rat producing infrastructure and replacing our wielder with one better suited to the title of the Rat King. Now, a basic rat warren produces 5 rats per turn, which is a decent amount of rats, and certainly better than a giant summoning circle that costs lots of resources, takes up lots of space, and only produces 1 unit that costs like 5 kidneys to buy. I mean, look at me, do I look like I'm a kidney dealer? Okay, wait, don't answer that question. Rats, in comparison, can literally be purchased for a handful of cheese, so we don't even need a good economy to recruit them. So instead of wasting money on a stable economy and decent infrastructure, we're just going to beeline the basic resources and then only produce rats or ways to improve the rats. Now, with some fortunate starting moves, we're able to get our town to tier 2 on turn 3, which is great. It means we're on track to get our second hero nice and early. Now on turn 6, we're able to upgrade our town to tier 3, meaning we can now build large buildings that will let us improve the rats. And now that we've also leveled up, we can recruit our second wielder, who is going to become the Rat King. Say hello to Brother Healer here. His specialization is rats. He grants all rats 1 extra hit point, which is huge as this raises the rat's default HP by 20%. Now, I'm 90% certain this dude is actually just in a Ratatouille situation, and he's actually just a corpse being propped up by some rats pretending to lead an army, but hey, who am I to judge? Now that extra HP is huge, and when combined with the actual sheer number of rats we have, it turns them from glass cannons into giant stacks of swarming rats that can absorb damage and one-hit anything else in the game. So let's kick off the Ratpocalypse. We're gonna start building up our defenses and build a superpower cheese force against an unstoppable wave of AIs. Okay, now we have some troops, a decent rat army, and a high-level town. down. However, we're going to be massively behind the AI. I mean, we haven't conquered a second settlement yet, and we're only able to produce one unit type. The AI will be coming for us with ranged units that we simply don't have a counter for, beyond, well, just sending even more rats. Welcome to a battle, ladies and gents. We're fighting a mix of humans, fey creatures, and giant club dudes. Now, we have 40 slow undead boys and 75 rats. The rats are, of course, glass cannons. They can hit really hard, but if they get hit first, then we're going to lose the battle. So when it comes to fighting, we have to bait the enemy into getting close to us and letting us attack first. And would you look at that, it's an easy victory with only 4 rat casualties. Now, this was a fight against neutrals that are, in comparison to the AIs, about as strong as a sea sponge, because the AI have wielders that can sling spells at us nearly constantly. And I'm not talking about those pathetic Harry Potter spells where you can kill like one person very slowly. I'm talking about casting mass unlife upon millions of people. Okay, by turn 16 we have a second town, and luckily we haven't run into any AIs yet. We also are going to pick up all 3 of the rat troop upgrades in the Forum of the Unseen. This gives our rats more defense, more offense, and most importantly, a sneak ability. This is going to let them walk through zones of controls without triggering retaliation attacks. This is incredibly useful for bypassing a front line and just ratting your way to the ranged backline that's going to do the most damage. Our capital was also now producing rats at an incredible rate. In one turn we would be pumping out 25 upgraded rats just from one settlement. By turn 20, Brother Healer was walking around with 200 rats, and after upgrading his command skill, he can now wield 5 different stacks of units, meaning potentially we could give him 500 rats. Now that would be rat-tastic. Oh god, what has this game done to me? I also decided to pick up my 3rd wielder, who is called Markov. Now, this dude is a tank who just makes undead units into monsters. As we are playing the undead boys, when we kill humans, we can resurrect their corpses to fight for us, so having someone to offload those corpses onto is rather useful. Great news, everyone! Brother Healer hit level 8, meaning he can take his first ultimate power! In our case, we're going to be taking Vigor, as this will give all of our rats an extra 2 HP. This is insane, and means Healer will be taking the HP of level 1 rats from 4 to 7, and of the upgraded rats from 6 to 9. Nice. This is great, and can actually be improved further to turn the rat stacks into tanky blobs of damage absorption. We also have the settlement of Old Hallow now under our control, and damn, this bad boy can fit so many rats in it. Every single building slot here will be set to rat production, and then using outposts we can teleport those rats to the front line. I estimate in a few turns this boy will be producing 30 to 40 rats per turn. And we've discovered our first AI threat. It's Paradine of the Green faction. He's leading somewhere between 25 and 100 troops, and whilst we could go and fight him right now, we might lose. So I'm going to wait a few turns, let him waste some of his troops cleaning up the nearby areas, and after his force has been massively diminished, we'll send in Markov to finish him off. And of course, because I don't fight fair and knowing the AI could sling spells at me, I will be using the auto-resolve and sacrificing a few of the rats for the greater good. And with him dealt with, we can now march into the large settlement and set up a new mass production hub for rats, and more importantly, a forward operating outpost to teleport resupply rats into, as I get the feeling we're going to be getting assaulted by the green AI near constantly from now on. Well, literally a couple of turns have passed, and Paradine's back, baby, this time with a larger army and tier 5 units and knights. Oh dear, this is a very strong looking army, and it's attacking a near undefended settlement, so I think that's a complete and utter loss. But luckily we can retaliate with Murkoff and his army of 200 rats and some skelly boys. Now, this is going to be a medium challenge battle, but with careful use of rats we can hopefully exploit and destroy them. Annoyingly, because they have so many ranged troops, I have to advance, else all of my rats are going to be shredded, but I don't have enough upgrades to move the rats into melee, meaning the enemy gets to attack me first, and oh god, we've lost like 70 rats. Okay, that battle was rough. We lost 183 rats, but we did pick up this drum which gives all of our troops +1 movement, so we can whack that onto the Rat King and supercharge those tidy legs. Most importantly, that's green defeated again, and hopefully they won't just immediately send another army of the same strength, because oh god, there's no way we're going to be able to beat it. Okay, so I kid you not, 2 turns later they've sent another army led by the same dude. However, luckily for us, it's tiny and terrible, but it's naturally just enough to take my entire settlement, and I can't respond. Luckily we can take it back next turn, but with the potential risk that at any moment green can just send another hero up, I have to go on the offensive. We have to load up on rats, send Murkoff down south, ruin their infrastructure enough just to try and slow them down. And as the next turn rolls around, and evidently the AIs are smelling blood in the water, because the purple AI now wants to come and say hello. Luckily their army is evidently just scouting, as it's rather tiny, but it did capture lots of my infrastructure, which is very annoying. So even though they had lots of troops and decent spells, I was able to only lose 10 rats in this fight, so that's a a great success. However, it is slightly dampened by the fact that I know the AI will now send 2 much larger stacks. Oh dear, okay. I sent Brother Healer out on a questing adventure into the middle of the map, and behold, a red army came out of nowhere that is full of higher tier units. Their threat level is worthy, but knowing the AI, I do not stand a chance here at all in this fight. So I'm going to try and snipe some of their best units and just rebuild. Okay, it's turn 41, and with some rapid reinforcements, I've sent Brother Healer to wipe out the green faction, whilst our other friends defend us from the AI in the north. Now, this is their main settlement full of decent units, but apparently the auto-resolve thinks this is an easy fight, mostly thanks to the upgrades we gave to Brother Healer and his rats. So let's see what we get. Oh my, for just 39 rats, we took over a second capital, and now we can use it to generate more rats. Yes, the endless rat cycle continues. Welcome to round 54, ladies and gents. You'll notice the green has been completely eliminated by us now, and thanks to research, each rat stack can now hold 200 rats, so Brother Healer is now leading 535 rats along with 20 priests who buff all of those rats to do more damage. Each stack of rats also has massively boosted damage and defense stats from all of our equipment. The main exploit of the rats should be clear now. With all of the buffs we have on each of them, a stack of 200 rats that cost us next to nothing to recruit currently have a total pool of hit points of 1,900. To put this into perspective, our max level Legion unit that costs us so much to recruit only have 85 hit points each. In their maximum stack, they will only have 425 hit points, which in comparison to rats is just terrible. This just shouldn't work like this. A cheap tier 1 unit can't just be objectively the best unit in the game. But with 7 settlements now under our control, we were now producing over 220 rats per turn, allowing us to really rival the AI's troops in output, and best of all, our troops are now objectively better. They do more damage, they have more health, and we can produce more of them, and guess what? They're literally dirt cheap. Do you know how easy it is to convince a rat to fight for you? Just give it some cheese. Okay, in this fight we have Brother Healer versus the purple faction, leading a force of high-level knights, double strike furies, and a wizard boy. Now annoyingly they get to go first and they cross the entire battlefield in a single turn, but ultimately it matters little, as no matter how much armor you're wearing, 200 plague rats can still hit for over 4,000 damage when the modifiers kick in, so wabam, easy victory. Okay, we're approaching the endgame now, as whilst the AI is constantly pumping out new heroes, these armies are easily auto-resolved to death by Brother Healer and the Rat Gang. There's no way to avoid them as they march around the map pretty much taking over everything, and at each settlement we take, that means we can recruit more rats each turn. There is simply nothing this AI can do to stop us, and honestly, I don't get what all the fuss is about. It turns out this game is an absolute walk in the park, provided you exploit the ridiculous power of rats. Now there are technically even more exploits that we could have used but didn't. For example, you can currently recruit and dismiss wielders and endlessly farm the free units they spawn in with, but hey, today I decided to be nice to the game, so hopefully it will be nice to me as I march towards this town. So with more lands under our control, I've sent our first hero to take over the capital of the red faction, and yep, this is going to be an easy fight for the rats, so it's time to do an auto-resolve, and oh dear, an error. Well, it's probably fine. Okay, no, this is not fine. The battle will not auto-resolve, and yep, okay, the game has decided to say enough is enough. I'll get the memo, game. Okay, I'm sorry, we hurt you, I'm sorry we did this to you, I get it, you don't want us to continue playing. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the game has decided the best way to beat us is to not let us play, and that's fine, completely understandable game. But there you have it, that's Songs of Conquest, an incredibly difficult and challenging game, provided you're not willing just to build an unstoppable army of rats. But if you're willing to let the rats take over you and lead the world to a brighter tomorrow, then that's what you have to do to survive. But thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed the game, I genuinely do recommend it. And if you enjoyed today's video, then of course you legally must give it a like, and go down into the description and pledge your allegiance to your brand new rat-based overlords. As always, a massive thank you to each and every one of our amazing YouTube members and patrons who fund our glorious channel. Thank you very much, you generous sausages. And hey, if you sat there wondering what to watch next, look no further than this video on screen now. Bam, it's perfect. Go watch it. You're gonna love it. Anyway, I'll see each and every one of you in the next one. Have a fantastic day, and goodbye for now.